Welcome back to the Dwarfs Abridged campaign, where last time we were sitting around mainly, watching Chaos do their thing and waiting for them to do their thing. There was some action though. We were accosted by various minor factions, some Bjornlings and some Beastmen. Well, we defeated all of them in good time. We've just got to clear up the scraps now. There are a few of these war herds of Chaos hanging around. I think they could go into their encampment stance and re-recruit all of their units, so it's probably a good idea to actually kill them. Now there's a revolutionary military strategy. For now I'm going to sit around and get Uldor some health back after his previous fights. I had an army pursuing this other herd that was not able to catch up with them before they came and attacked this settlement. It's not a walled settlement, and we don't have that much garrison. However, we do have explosive bullets, and that's going to work especially well against these herds where the troops are all very close together. So in they come, sprinting towards us, and the explosions begin. Now the light show should gradually whittle the enemy down. These harpies don't do very well against it, that's for sure. It feels like it's actually been a bit of a while since we saw the strategy, the checkerboard thing with scouts and blunderbuss troops. Well, it still works, same as always. Its weakness remains long-range attacks, but this Beastman horde doesn't have anything like that. It does have a few archers, but that's barely going to make a dent. Massive run-up for their commander there on that charge, but it didn't really do anything. Looks like we're fine. We've got the enemy locked in position. This is when I can walk away from the PC and things should be alright if our guys remember to keep shooting. Some of them definitely are. Here's a bit later. The balance bar's become even now, but we've already won. The balance bar is really favouring the enemy for some reason. We're scattering them all over the place. If they can't get past the first line, they will die unless we run out of ammo, but they'll need a lot of beastmen to cause that to happen. I forgot to start filming after the game reloaded, so I didn't even see the result of that battle. Well, we won, and our losses are irrelevant, of course. And we go on in with the army that was pursuing these guys who finished them off. We actually barely damaged their army because they routed off the field. But they're dead enough that we can auto-resolve them for free, and that does kill them, unlike a manual resolve there, so thank you to auto-resolve for pretending we could actually pursue the enemy. And Uldor goes out to start attacking these herds. That's going to be easy enough. Very rapidly, things have been cleaned up in this area. That means it's now time to turn our attention back to the wider world. Another apocalypse check is upon us. I'm looking around to see how bad things are and whether I need to make them worse, effectively. The Empire has moved down right close to us at our end of the map, and that's probably because they're mostly dead up top. The Dwarves haven't bounced back this time from my previous nuking of them, so that's good news. I've nuked them sufficiently that they're not going to start immediately becoming the strongest faction again. Here's the devastation of Chaos. Looks like it is all working. They're making their way across the Empire, and most of it is dead. A few of their pushes look like they're only using single stacks, and they might actually get defeated there by the remaining Empire forces. Still hoping though that, on the whole, we're going to see the old world get completely wrecked, and then with any luck, we'll get nearly wrecked or something, and it will be terribly dramatic. I don't know how much Chaos we're going to end up fighting, potentially loads if they keep doing quite well. On the other side of the world, another Chaos invasion is happening. This one matters less to me, but looks like they've got about halfway down the continent, so they're achieving something there as well. I'm carrying on my project to fight with the Dune Kingdoms, the store brand version of the Tomb Kings. They control Plain of Tuskers, which is in the same province as Suddenburg, the city we have on the left. It would be handy for us to take it then. I go down with Uldor, and they come at us with a bunch of stuff to challenge us here and even get themselves that advantage on the balance bar, which will be even better for them in a real battle. You might note we don't have Kazran, our engineer, in the army at the moment, so we're not as fully buffed as usual. He's been replaced by some Cairnwraiths. He got wounded by enemy agent spam, so I replaced him with ghosts as part of something that could be used in a potential lore situation when I write about all this. They're not going to play very much of a part in this battle though, because we're going to be fighting mostly at range. Being the Tomb Kings, they're going to send in someone to die immediately. Looks like it's a hero this time instead of their commander, but their commander is following close behind. Although it's not such a bad strategy, because it's making me waste my ammunition on this area of effect weapon shooting at one guy, so a lot of the damage there would have been wasted. Well, it still did enough to take out that hero, and here comes the commander with another hero. we'll start shooting at him as well. And of course, once he gets past rocket range, things will get even shootier. It's possible this is all a meta strategy because the particle effects from those rockets do actually cause quite a lot of lag, so maybe he's trying to stop me from playing the game properly by lagging it out, but I don't need to. Although that said, I did more micro in this battle than usual. I was constantly telling the rockets to shoot at different units, so that they weren't wasting shots firing at nearly dead units where their area of effect damage won't be applied quite so well. Our Gatling gunners here appear to have taken down a unit of chariots coming at our right flank. Now they switch target onto these flyers who are just stuck out there. They're going to be absolutely annihilated, and I'm pretty sure there's nothing they can do if the AI doesn't think to go around behind us, and so far it hasn't thought of that. I don't think it does have that programmed in as an option. Also, I'm corner camping actually in this battle, so I suppose they can't really. Now in comes another army. They did the other classic mistake of having the armies attack separately, so by the time we're done killing the first army, the second army then comes over and will face the exact same fate. Just look at us absolutely demolishing these skeletons. It only takes one volley from the bombardment rocket launchers to take out most of a unit, and if a couple of units happen to be standing on top of each other or right next to each other, it does even more damage. So with the micro I mentioned, I'm just firing a volley at each unit in range, trying to fire at the strongest available targets to make the best use of our ammo, because these things don't have the most ammo. We certainly can run out. We're probably about to run out right now. In fact, we definitely are. We've got about 1.5 enemy armies worth of ammo on those rockets. The other things didn't have to work so hard, so we still have more ammo on our gunners. There comes their commander right at the end, just to see what all the fuss is about, getting killed himself. And that's going to bring an end to this battle for all intents and purposes. Here's the result. We lost 2 guys somewhere. The enemy lost absolutely everything, nearly 3,000 troops. An insanely good exchange, the best one we've seen so far. Actually, I think we might have had a 0 casualties fight somewhere in this campaign. But overall, this army build is pretty good. And as I said, that's without our engineer buffing our units, and those buffs mainly apply to ranged attacks, so we could have been even more powerful there. After taking that settlement, I moved to the northeast to just start attacking them in general, just for something to do. We arrive at what I think is their current capital, scare somebody off, and make the attack. I wasn't sure about actually coming out here to occupy this territory because it's outside of Araby, and Araby is the arbitrary border of the little area I'm going to defend for this campaign's vague challenge. So instead, we raise the place. As we know, that doesn't mean very much. They can just put it back with one guy whenever they want, and in fact I think they do after like 1 or 2 turns. I was, though, able to get a peace treaty with these guys. I have to pay them, but I have infinite money, so that doesn't matter. I could just finish them off, of course, but I didn't really want to. I wanted Uldor to come back, both to be in position in case something went down, and also to participate in the project I started a long time ago, that is rebel farming here at Sudenburg. You can see the rebels are now there. We've got through all of our excess public order. Now we can make it so rebellions constantly appear. The situation is always bad, so whenever we kill one, another one will be right on the way. And somebody could kill them. If we have an army here, we can kill them for experience, or they can fail to take the settlement, which they always will because of the strength of the garrison, and then we just kill them for money. We could even throw a hero, or a general, into the settlement to just make some experience points leading the garrison. Now after that, I was looking around up north again, doing the chaos check. I noticed the Empire building back far too much for my liking. They've even almost built back to where chaos are spawning with a little push. So I came back in and created another mid-game crisis, just another 5 armies to add to the pile. I thought they might be able to come over here and just stop the Empire rebuilding way in the back lines where chaos might not notice, and will let them rebuild. An interesting side effect of this is it apparently reset the main Chaos invasion, and it happens again. So now we've got a second endgame invasion on top of the 7 or so mid-game invasions currently going on. While that's confusing, what I wanted to know is how does this interact with all of the unique characters from the first invasion, because one of your objectives, for example, is to kill Archon the Everchosen. Now I guess there are 2 of them. I don't know how the game's going to work with that in mind. But yes, we can see we had the Watcher guy just appeared, but he's already on the map over here. So now there are 2 of each of these special Chaos commanders. We probably need to kill all of them to end the invasion. I suppose we'll just find out. It wasn't programmed to work this way, so it might not work at all. Maybe killing one will do it, maybe now we can't do it. Could go either way. Now as we continue to wait, a Bjornling invasion comes along, probably spawning with that second endgame invasion. You may recall that last time I was disappointed with the Bjornlings because they only attacked me with one army, they really had no chance. Well, this time they're going to put more effort into it. They appear with 3 stacks that land near Firus. We happen to have an army sitting just outside Al-Haik currently raiding in order to gain experience points, so we can use them to fight this stack of 3 by moving into Firus and adding the garrison as well. Firus doesn't have walls, so it's just a field battle. Maybe this time the enemy will impress me, although I have upgraded this army since we last used it, giving it some endgame units like the rocket launchers and Gatling guns. We're setting up for something there, but we're not going to look at that right now, because there was also another conflict brewing over at Camry. A new Beastman faction spawned. I've got this army sitting around. This is the one full of helicopters that we used in the past. We're going to use it right now as well to make this attack, but not before I cheekily fill it out because I realised I was missing a unit, and we can actually take a unit without stopping to recruit. With the Regiments of Renown system, you get the extra unit and can just immediately move on. Plus, those units are immortal. If they die, you can immediately re-recruit them at full strength, so they're easier to replenish than normal units as well. I guess the downside is cost, but that doesn't matter to us. So here we go, a little battle against the Beastmen just for fun. We need to make use of our gyrocopters to deploy their scouts and get up to no good. At the start, they're targeted by the enemy's 2 Cygors. We do a cheeky pirouette there to avoid one of their attacks. If we micro the gyrocopters and give a new order whenever the Cygors throw their stones, we can dodge them, or we can just not. As you can see here, we can just tank them because they don't do that much damage by the looks of things. They're much more effective against infantry. Here come the infantry, and we take a hit on the way in. You can see the damage it does. We lose half the health on this unit of shield wall instantly. Dangerous stuff, especially with 2 of them out there, so our gyrocopters need to do something to distract them. I actually kind of failed in this regard. I wanted to try and get them shooting behind their army up here at these cliffs where the gyrocopters are looming, but they started just ignoring me. I used the gyrocopters to deploy the scouts back there right behind the enemy, and this worked really well because you can see they're bunching up all over the place. Half their stuffs come back to fight the scouts, will be locked into these not very favourable melees. However, we do have a steel rain mortar raining shots on this widely spaced enemy force, the perfect thing to target given its very low accuracy. It does have pretty high firepower though, so when it hits it grabs a load of kills, and we're seeing the enemy rout here as the attacks come in, so the scouts are totally getting away with it, and all that makes the fight at the front of the battle easier. Down go those dogs to a hail of Gatling gun fire. And here are 2 more special units. We've got these snipers. They're like the scouts, but with really long range and high damage. You just don't get very many of them to shoot, and it notes they're only effective against single targets. So I'm using them there to not really snipe at the enemy commander. Could have done that without snipers. Overall, I wasn't too impressed with them, because we probably don't have that many opportunities to snipe at the enemy at range. The enemy's big monsters will probably be right in front of us in most battles. Well, this battle is looking pretty good. The enemy have fled at the back, they're going to flee at the front, and the steel rain is blowing up everything in the middle. Soon it's going to come down to just those Cygors. They're just sort of floundering, unable to attack, constantly switching targets, something I've noticed them do before. The AI needs to leave them on fire at will and stop trying to give them orders, I guess. Eventually, they're going to take the brunt of the shooting, and down they go with extra shooting from that second section of gyrocopters, bringing in more scouts along the flank. Now, because the enemy can run away, killing the Cygors is a priority here. Everything else can survive as long as these 2 units die. We could engage these guys again and be absolutely secure in victory. With that done, we can quit the battle, but actually the enemy army got so damaged that it is going to be killed after this battle for reasons I don't quite understand. But anyway, the result is good, and the Steel Rain Mortar was the star of the show, getting absolutely loads of kills. I had thought they weren't all that useful before, but that battle looked like it was the perfect chance to use them with the enemy's exact formation. And as I said, down the enemy herd goes. I thought I'd have to fight them again one day. I don't, and that's really useful, of course. We'll send those guys back to sit in Camry for a while. And the Bjornling attack does come in over at Firus. I was going to have this one in this part, but I realised I want to make 2 videos out of the footage I do have for this week. So I'm going to put this at the start of the next one, where we'll also see some battles against the peripheries of the real Chaos Invasion. You might note, disappointingly, they're only attacking with 2 of their 3 armies. The AI is screwing this up again for me. Still, we'll get a flashy showcase battle at the very least at the start of the next part.